Hey guys, Taki here. Today we're going to do a mini review of the new version of the Miyoo Mini, and the cool thing this time around is that we have two different colors. You can see that we have a transparent blue color and a transparent black one. So in this video, we're going to talk about what you get inside the package because it's a bit different than it was when I first reviewed the device. We're also going to talk about some of the changes that went into this version and whether or not I think you should pick this up versus the original one if you already own it. So let's start off with the packaging first. When the Miyoo Mini first came out, there wasn't any case for it. You essentially got the unit itself and then people were left to find all kinds of different bags to put it in. But now they're coming in this Miyoo branded case, which is a perfect size for this device. It has a semi-hard top and bottom, along with the logo on the front and a red accent around the middle. If we open it up, it has a space for the device to sit inside the pocket here, and we have a net on the other side to hold our charging cable and an SD card reader. My product shipped to me inside this package, and I think it's a great way of shipping this device because you have a better chance of protecting your device while it's in transit instead of just using the normal packaging that you see on these budget devices. This gives you a much better chance of protecting your investment, especially if you live very far from where this is shipped out. You're also left with a very nice carrying bag that zips up well and can even go on a keychain if you want. The product is small enough that even with the case on, you can easily pop this in your pocket if you want, but I usually just throw this in the side pocket in my backpack. There's nothing else to say here except that I like this case, and I think it's better than some of the options that we were forced to use before this point. Out of the two new options, I think it's safe to say that this blue one was inspired just a bit by the Funtastic N64 collection. The color is more or less the same as a Funtastic N64 controller, and I think this is decent enough color accuracy if this is what they were going for. Black, on the other hand, is a bit more stealthy. You can't see as much on the inside as you can with the transparent blue. I actually like this one more than this because I like to be able to see the inside, and this is not opaque enough for my liking, but they're both different options that are good for different people. This is kind of similar to the color option we saw with the 350H a few years ago, and it is a good color option. Now I want to go over the changes that went into this device. Both of these are version 2 devices, and they are supposed to have different screens or added clarity from a new OCA process. I do just want to point out that even if these are new screens, there is still a large variation between the contrast and picture quality from device to device. Just keep in mind that you're still going to be better off going into the display settings and customizing the screen so it looks best for your needs. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, just look at this orange here. This is a more saturated orange on the blue model versus the black one, and I know the difference should be big enough that you can even see it after YouTube whacks this upload with compression. This is the kind of thing that you'd never notice if you only owned one, but this blue one has the better screen of the two without me needing to do any adjustments. So that's just something to be aware of. Let's go over the back now because this is a bit of a pain point for me, and we're going to stick with the blue one for this. One of the things that I really liked about the original device was that it used a standard off-the-shelf battery. This opens up the door for you to be able to buy replacement batteries locally around the globe. The obvious benefit of this is that when the battery eventually does die, you can buy another one and slot it in and continue to keep gaming instead of having to turn this into a decorative item. So obviously Miyoo has this branded battery, but this is a generic battery that you could buy that is still widely available. When the one in your device dies, you're not just left with a paperweight that looks nice on a shelf. You can still use it for years to come if you just buy another battery. Unfortunately, it's a bit different on the new device. You will see that we now have a customized cell with its own connector and a slightly higher capacity. While not impossible, this new battery is not as repair friendly for customers, and the company has not made any mention of its commitment to supply aftermarket batteries for this otherwise amazing device. I, for one, would buy at least an additional cell to still enjoy the ability to bring an extra battery with me on trips without the ability to recharge. These things are only a few dollars to make, so these replacement batteries wouldn't need to be that expensive. Let's continue with the teardown of the back shell. I'm not seeing anything that's changed on this blue PCB. They still have switches that I really like with the rubber top. They're soft to press and easy to use with the same rumble motor in the middle. Everything else here seems to be basically the same except the PCB color has been changed from green to blue. I'm going to tear it down just a bit further so we can take a look at the screen, and we'll do some comparisons between the models that I have to check for differences. Here's a closer look at the PCBs between the two devices. We can see the production date of this first device that I have here is from November of 2021. It's a version 1.1 board, and this latest one is a version 1.4 board with an April build date. That's not an insignificant amount of board revisions to go through in that amount of time, so I'm interested to see if there were any hardware flaws in the first devices that are now fixed beyond the new battery connector. One of the things that I am noticing is that they have started to glue the membrane directly to the PCB so it doesn't easily come off. I haven't found that this changes the feel of the device, so maybe this was done to help with manufacturing. If you look at the screen itself, our connector is a bit different on this, and that could mean that we're not using those old BlackBerry screens anymore. Maybe they found a new stock now, but they're more or less the same thing. So in this last section, I want to go over the stuff that comes on the SD card that ships with this device. The most obvious thing is that some of the UI elements have changed slightly compared to what they were on the launch versions. That being said, everything here is still the same. We also don't have any new setup options. I don't know if it's due to an older build of the software that runs on this device or if they've made further improvements since January, but some of the standalone apps for things like OpenBore that were not working before are working on this one. This is just something to be aware of because these apps were not working on the last video that I made. Beyond the price, one of the big selling points of this device is that it comes with a bunch of ROMs. You won't always be able to find what you're looking for, but there's a decent amount here until you get around to replacing them with your own. It's still a very powerful and capable device for its price. Anyway, let's wrap up this short review of the new transparent Miyoo Mini options with my pros and cons. On the pro side, this is still one of the best bang for your buck options out there in the $50-ish range, and it's an easy recommendation or a gift to others. The device packs a ton of power in a tiny package, and the company has continued to support the device with software development efforts post-launch. Finally, the color options are a nice touch to the collection, and I really like this transparent blue color that they picked. For the cons, there's really only one that I could come up with, and it's the change to the new battery that they're using. Unless there's some larger point that I'm not getting, or they lost supply of the older batteries, I don't think this was worth fixing what wasn't broken. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the new collection of transparent Miyoo Minis down below. Are you thinking about buying one, or do you already have an order? Don't forget to subscribe to be notified when I drop new videos, and leave a like if you enjoyed this one. Happy gaming, everyone. Taki out.